Okay, forgive me for I have been very bad at putting out videos. I've just been so busy getting settled into a groove in Boonville. I just got to Indiana and my mom's turning on her porch light because she knows I'm here and I'm trying to shoot this video. It's gonna be awkward. She's gonna walk up here and I'm gonna be like, excuse me, shooting a video. But I've been getting settled into Boonville, been just crazy busy working on the Nomad chassis, welding it up for Dennis. He built that awesome machine. Also, I've been 3D printing like a madman. I've been really getting the hang of Fusion 360, stuff like that. Not stuff like that, like just Fusion 360. Forgive me, I'm tired. It was a long drive. But been getting the hang of Fusion 360, the printing slicer, all that stuff, figuring out how to print it faster when I need it faster, blah, 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 how to make it nicer when I need it nicer. I've printed like 3 prototype brackets. I'm on my 4th now of the Nova, 1st gen Camaro and 2nd gen Nova stuff for the long travel brackets. So hopefully I'll have those out in the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping. At least get a pre-order going to get a number on what I need to order. And then, yeah, I'm designing some helmet hooks, and just, I've been learning and working so much. This last month has just flown by, and I've tried the video as much as possible, but when you know how it is, you get in the groove of things that are just working, you forget to do other stuff, and I have forgot to video. I've shot tidbits here and there, some, time lapses of me welding on the Nomad, just a few things of me printing, I'll go over, I'll get my laptop and I'll go over the software, and I can show you guys the 15 different types of prototypes that I've had and stuff like that. So I'm back here in Indiana now because I'm coming back here to get the 4-door Nova so I can cut it up and make sure the brackets are A1 perfect before I start selling them. I'm also here to work on Johnny Cash, but I'm only here for a day right now. I'm going to help Colt put up the lift that he got from me. I'm flying to Vegas for the Pennzoil 400 that Alex is going to. She was able to have a +1, and I've never been to a NASCAR race. So I'm going there. Then I'm flying back, driving up to Wisconsin, getting the next batch of G-Body S10 brackets, driving back down here, putting Marilat boxes in Johnny, and then picking up the Nova and driving back to Arkansas. So got a busy weekend and week, but I'm really looking forward to it. So back to the videos and back to the grind. Come on. second actual prototype done for the first gen Camaros and 69 to 72 Novas. So just got here this morning. It's bright and early. I'm gonna get this thing off the print bed with my new scraper that I printed the other day. And then I'm gonna go test it on that Camaro over there because I spent a good amount of my Saturday and Sunday designing and printing that thing. So I'm gonna see how well it fits because I kind of took a new approach because I'm making this one a smaller package because of how the A-arms are on these cars. I'm trying to go inside the mount for the A-arms instead of outside like the G-bodies do. So this is basically a whole new design. So I've had the pleasure of welding up this beautiful chassis that this man here built, and I don't really know anything about it except that it's awesome. So I've got a crap ton of videos of me just time-lapse welding it, and he's going to give us an overview of exactly what it is and why it is and who it's for.
It's like a small tire dune buggy. We're gonna go sand, we're gonna put paddle tires on it. See, it's a multi-purpose car. You can put the body on it, go drag racing, or you can take the body off, put paddle tires on it, go to the dunes.
It kind of does look like the outline of a dune buggy, like the sand rails that do the wheelies.
It does, if the motor was back here instead of up there. No, it's for that 55 Nomad for Tom Bailey. So all we have left of a 55 Nomad obviously is the roof and the quarter panels. So I made carbon doors in front end. Debbie and Alex helped make the molds, and everything's carbon there. Carbon tailgate, you can see some of the parts leaning up back there. So we'll have a 7-speed Liberty with a converter and a converter drive, and it'll be a special cut gear set that'll allow Tom to drive it on the street with that Pro Stock transmission, basically.
I've never known anybody with a billet 7-speed that's driven it on the street.
No, it's the way it's going to work is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth will be the kind of gear that will pop out when you lift on the car, just like a regular Liberty is. If you lift, if it's not under power, it'll pop back into neutral. Seventh will be the same gear ratio as sixth, as I understand it anyway. But it'll be dog cut where it'll hang in gear. So if he's cruising on the highway, he can take his hand off the shifter and let up on the gas, and it should stay in gear. That's the plan anyway. But it'll be a full clutchless transmission, like a Pro Stock. And the engine will be a Steve Morris SMX, just like what's in Tom's car now, except it gets screw blower on it.
And tell me about the front end suspension geometry. To me, this is new, but like you said, this has been around for decades and decades.
In the day, everybody, back in the gasser days, like the Willies over there, you put a tube axle in or a straight axle. A lot of them weren't tube, they were I-beam, but you save weight and you also jack the front of the car up. So you see that now on some of this no prep stuff, like the street racing. The kids have figured out that put the front end of the car up and you're already halfway to transferring the weight. It just makes sense for when you have limited traction. Well, that's what they did back in the 60s and even earlier, late 50s, but we're recreating that. So we don't really need the traction because they fly paper the tracks. It will have a radial tire on it, but we want the look of the gasser, and it'll work pretty good, I think. I mean, people are figuring out now that it's kind of not such a bad idea. It actually worked back then, it works now. But the front end I made it extra heavy mainly to be different. But the car's going to obviously wheelie. There's no wheelie bars. It's a radial. It's 4,500 horsepower, stick shift. It's going to wheelie. So I went ahead and built the axle out of 3-inch wall, or 3-inch, quarter-inch wall tubing. So if it does come down hard, it's not going to bend. And same with the spindles. I made the spindles, and they're pretty heavy duty, pretty solid. You can bend anything. If it bends, it'll be out here past the spindle tube. It won't bend the kingpins. That's all heat treated chrome moly stuff that I did. Rack and pinion, and then the 4-link. So he can either do a long travel shock or short travel. That's something that they'll tune in when they get to the track.
So he could basically put a longer shock and change the ride height and make it look like a gasser going down the road or whatever. And then when he gets to the track, he could convert to a radial setup and slam it on the ground.
No, it won't ever be slammed on the ground. It'll always look like a gasser.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, he can make it where it'll always probably have the same ride height, but, you know, there's two theories, schools of thought. If it's got traction, keep the front wheels on the ground. You don't need to extend the front end, so you can put a short travel shock in it. That's one reason with the heavy axle up here. That thing weighs way more than a traditional gasser axle, but it's kind of the idea is to keep the front end planted as well. And I may even drill the tube and put a cap on it so we can fill it with lead.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
There's that school of thought, and then there's the school of thought more like you, extend the front end. Well, I don't think he's going to be street racing the thing. I think he'll be on tracks that are prepared, so he probably doesn't need the long travel shocks, and I didn't build it really for that in mind. We'd rather keep the front end tied down on this car.
But it's got like a 4-link design, so that way it can go up and down. That's awesome. I've never seen that before, till now.
Yep, old, before your time, gasser stuff. But it's a gasser, kind of. I mean, the world gets confused. They think anything with a straight axle is a gasser, so that's kind of the game we're playing here. That's not really true. Most gassers back in the day didn't even have a straight axle. That was really the race cars that had the straight axles. But, you know, we're using that gasser kind of thing. It sets higher. We're calling it a gasser because it's got an axle, but it's, you know, not much gasser about it. A big giant billet SMX motor with a screw blower, a converter drive, and a 7-speed, and a, you know, super trick rear end. There's not much gasser about it. It's going to have zoomies. It's going to run on nitro until he starts to pass. When he gets it bumped into the beams, it will
be on
go
nitro.
to alcohol.
Oh.
So they've got some kind of hull tech, I think, is what I understand. The guy's going to work with them and tune it where when he's ready to make the hit, it's going to go to alcohol. There's just no need.
Yeah.
The nitro will look bitching, it'll sound bitching in the pits and pulling into the, you know, into the water box and doing a burnout. But just kind of maybe a gimmick car, but it's still going to haul. You know?
So this is a 6.0 cert chassis.
Yeah.
25.2.
25.3.
25.3. And you made those 4-link brackets too? You drew them up and made them, designed them?
I think I made all those front brackets off of the bandsaw. The back ones I put an adapter arm on my CNC mill and put my plasma cutter on there. Alex drew them up in Fusion for me. But yeah, you see how they have to hang extra low because of the fact that the chassis is so
The
high.
ride height. Nice. Floater rear end.
They're interesting. It has a back seat.
That's what those tabs right there are for?
So somebody's going to be riding in the back, and I'm going to say they're not going to be comfortable unless they're about 4 foot tall, but I think that's Luke's job.
Oh
Luke's
gosh.
already had to test drive that seat.
So Luke gets to ride in the back, and then whoever's probably helping him, his son or somebody else, will be riding passenger.
That's right. And then there will be a gear vendor on the back of it. So Liberty's working on, and have been for a long time, an adapter, and then Rick will be putting a gear vendor back there. So that's going to be quite a mess.
Yeah.
You know, that's
There's like no drive shaft.
Yeah, I've had it mocked up. We've got a mock-up case over there. I don't remember the length of the drive shaft, but it's very short.
Good Lord. Well, that's about it for now. So I'm going to Indy, and then when I get back, we're going to flip it that way, finish welding the bottom, and then the body goes back on, and then it's...
Start hanging doors, front end, and tailgate.
Nice, but at least then it can come off this chassis jig and it can roll.
Yep, it's ready to roll. It's solid, looks good. Welds are awesome. The chassis looks primo. I mean, it's a nice piece.
This is one fine unit. But, all right, I'm going to Indy.
Fast life, the fast living. They see the ambition, they know I'm past driven. Look, we are not the same, this is not a game. I be swerving through the city in and out of lanes. Yeah, cause if I see it, then I want it, then you better know I got it. Ain't no options, I'm about to do the damn thing. I'm an outlaw, you can never catch me. I'm in first place, you can never. These are the moments, only got one life. This is your moment, whether wrong or right. You're your own enemy, your own enemy, your own to me. When I fall, I keep running. Feel the pain, but I love it.
You know I'm built for it. You ain't gotta ask twice.
You ain't by that fast life. 100 on the dash with the cash light. You ain't by that fast life. Big dog status with your stats like. You ain't by that fast life. Just know 100 duffels is the bag price. You ain't by that fast life. 6 speed, yeah, I'm smashing on the gas, gas, gas.